Right here, folks, is a colorless liquid that looks like water. It has a pungent odor and a burning sweet taste. Now, if not completely fucking obvious from the label, its chemical formula is C2H5OH. This, my friends, is ethyl alcohol. The alcohol found in good old-fashioned booze. It's made out of carbohydrates such as starch or sugar. Cereal grains are starchy materials commonly used in making alcoholic beverages. Out of wheat, beer is usually made. Beer contains about 4.5% ethyl alcohol as indicated by the striped area at the bottom of this here bottle. Other products that contain sugar can also be used to make alcoholic beverages. Out of grapes, wine is made. Wine contains about 15% ethyl alcohol, and is a huge surprise to myself, doesn't usually come out of a box. All alcoholic beverages are products of good old-fashioned fermentation. As these samples of wheat and grapes are fermenting, alcohol is being produced before your very eyes. Viewer, the raw material usually needs to be prepared for fermenting by cracking or crushing. Whatever's being used, fermentation has to take place. Otherwise, you're just drinking rancid grain water. Fermentation is the action of the yeast cells on sugars to produce alcohol. Bubbles seen here? That's carbon dioxide given off during the fermentation period. Beer and wine are products of fermentation alone, but whiskey, sweet king whiskey, a third type of alcoholic beverage, requires distillation as well as fermentation. The alcohol is separated from the other materials in the fermented mixture, because who really needs all that shit? In this case, alcohol is made out of fermented corn mash. When the fermented mixture is heated, vapors are given off that contain products of the fermentation, including a relatively high percentage of alcohol. As the vapors cool, they change to liquid and drip from the distillery. This here is the good shit. Whiskey ordinarily contains about 43% or more of alcohol. When we compare the three kinds of beverages we've gone over, we see whiskey contains more alcohol than either wine or beer. But in each of these three beverages, the intoxicating part is always the same substance: ethyl alcohol. Let's go straight up Saturday morning here. By using the animated drawings, we'll see what happens to alcohol in the body. In the alcoholic beverage shown here, the black dots represent the ethyl alcohol content. The alcohol travels down the esophagus and into the stomach and the small intestine. Capillaries in the stomach lead to the branch of the portal blood vein that connects with the liver shown over at the left. These capillaries absorb alcohol directly from the stomach, and the portal vein carries it over to the liver. Other capillaries absorb alcohol from the small intestine, shown at the bottom. In the liver, some of the alcohol undergoes an immediate change. Enzymes found only in the liver react with the alcohol and change it to acetic acid, seen here as white dots. So this means that the alcohol burns or oxidizes, thereby releasing calories of heat energy. The acetic acid molecules and the molecules in the ethyl alcohol not acted upon immediately by the liver pass on through the veins to the heart, shown here in the center. So this means that the more alcohol that reaches your liver at one time, the more alcohol that goes onto the heart, unchanged. Heart goes on to pump this blood containing alcohol and acetic acid into the arteries, where it then fucks off onto every dark recess of the body. Whereas only the liver oxidizes ethyl alcohol to acetic acid, any body tissue, as for example the tissue shown here, can oxidize acetic acid. As acetic acid, represented by the white dots, burn, heat energy is released, and waste material is eliminated. Thus, the liver is the only one organ of your body where oxidation of alcohol to acetic acid takes place. So, take care of that shit. So, except for small amounts of alcohol that escape through the lungs and the kidneys, alcohol in the bloodstream remains unchanged until it can be acted upon by the liver. As the liver oxidizes molecules of alcohol to acetic acid, other molecules return from the bloodstream. The liver oxidizes about 3/4 of an ounce of alcohol per hour until all the alcohol is oxidized. As long as there's any alcohol in the bloodstream, some of it reaches the brain. Here it acts as an anesthetic. The effects of alcohol in the human brain vary somewhat from person to person, but the main effects follow a general pattern. At first, the greatest effects are on the cerebrum, outlined here with a black border. 500% is about 1 ounce of undiluted alcohol in the entire bloodstream. This darkened area is the judgment center and the center for tensions and anxieties. Now, even small amounts of alcohol tend to deaden these centers, and because of this, may provide an illusion of relaxation. This is ordinarily the situation in moderate social drinking. As the concentration of alcohol in the blood rises above 500%, though, the judgment centers become more and more depressed. Gradually, too, the muscular control centers become less responsive to incoming signals from the nerves in all parts of the body. A person usually feels confident that everything is hunky-dunky, but a condition like this develops. Drivers in this condition are incapable of making responses fast enough for the safety of themselves or fucking anybody else out there, and this shit leads to accidents. The vision center, too, is affected during intoxication. This impairs the individual's normal vision. Blurring and other abnormalities of vision frequently occur. Driving and walking in traffic is extremely hazardous under such conditions. If the concentration of alcohol continues to increase, it finally affects the deeper center towards the base of the brain called the cerebellum. When the concentration of alcohol in the bloodstream reaches about 0.4%, unconsciousness usually happens. 0.4% is about 8 ounces of undiluted alcohol in the entire bloodstream of an average-sized adult. So you got about a can of Pepsi's worth of booze floating around in your veins, where your blood is supposed to live. Gradually, the brain and other organs are freed from the anesthetic effects of ethyl alcohol. But you ain't done yet, motherfucker! Even after consciousness is regained, it takes some time before the person is fully in control of their muscular processes. After deep intoxication, the sobering up period for the average-sized adult may take 12 hours or more. Even beyond this amount of time lost, there's frequently a further period of partial incapacity. We've seen that alcohol oxidizes in the body and produces heat energy. In this respect, it's like any other food. But, as a food, heat energy is all that pure alcohol can provide. Most other foods supply some needed materials such as protein or vitamins. Pure alcohol contains none of that shit, even though it supplies calories. The substitution of alcohol for other foods over a long period of time produces serious nutritional deficiencies and decreases the resistance to infections and to such diseases as pellagra and beriberi. Not to get all after-school special on you, but those who are unable to avoid chronic overindulgence in ethyl alcohol, such as this man, are usually termed alcoholics or problem drinkers. For him, like other alcoholics, alcohol disrupts his life and injures his health. Investigations are convincing medical authorities that the problem drinker is a sick person. This man needs medical attention. The old method of treatment for a person in this condition was just to throw him in jail. And since we don't live in a goddamn utopia yet, it's still pretty in vogue. But the hospital is the place for a person in a helpless condition due to alcohol. Medical science can help the problem drinker regain his physical health, and when there's any doubt to the cause of the patient's condition, a complete medical examination can be made. An eye check will help determine whether the patient is suffering from shock. By means of a chemical test and a sample of his blood, the patient can be checked for diabetes and other diseases that may have symptoms similar to those with alcoholism. Blood pressure and heart tests will reveal the condition of the circulatory system. Physical tests and the study of the patient's history are needed in order to make sure that they're really suffering from alcoholism. Hospitalization for several days may be needed. During this time, they receive a balanced diet and treated medically if necessary. Although they may recover physically, they must avoid all future use of alcoholic beverages. Made clear to him before he leaves the hospital that even a single drink will certainly lead him back again to chronic alcoholism. It's essential that every drinker understand how alcohol affects their body and face the possibility of one day becoming an alcoholic. And they should realize that alcohol is a potential menace to community safety as well as their personal health. Here we are, coming to you straight from beautiful stock footage, Maine. Hey, thanks for stopping by and watching the first episode of Jimmy Haight Life Coach. There's going to be many more to come, hopefully, so if you have any questions you'd like to ask old Jimmy Haight, or you just need some general advice, go ahead and leave a comment below this video. We'll look at them. Or you could just send a message to supercreeptv@gmail.com with the subject of Life Coach. Now, before we get on out of here, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Before we leave, I want to thank Eddie, Tez, and Mary Poppins. Thank you for keeping the doors open on this joint. Other than that, I'm off, and until next time, later, haters.
I've got the old soul, you know, feeling caught my sweetest soul.